sounding. If you know what it means, it's not ambiguous. If you're just a casual reader, you won't know what it really means. Okay. And the reason for that is I'm convinced that Srila Prabhupada didn't want people, his disciples in particular, no doubt, to start out trying to plot out how they could establish themselves as being Uttama Adhikaris. So he left that information out. He told me that information in private. And Bhanu said, well, you're deaf. How do you know you heard it properly? I said, I'm not that sort of deaf. He was telling me very specifically. But now I've told everybody here, I kept it to myself because when I read those passages in the Nectar of Instruction, it occurred to me that Prabhupada was deliberately obscuring the ultimate purport because, and it seemed obvious to me that he didn't want people going around suddenly claiming to be Uttama Adhikaris, his disciples, in other words, or for that matter, anybody else that reads his books. So I kept that information to myself for decades. It's only on this, I've told a few people, but it's only here that I've been making it front and foremost.
But how can you put an Uttama Adhikari in a box? How he behaves, how he talks, how he does this, how he does that. He's beyond, a range of your conception.
Yeah, but he doesn't go into the sort of direct explanation the way he told me. If he told me so simply and straightforwardly, why didn't he put it in writing that way?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's why Bhanu is questioning you, because he's saying that if Prabhupada has given everything, then why isn't this part described? Because the Bhagavatam, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these books, they talk very high level philosophy.
Well, it's all there, but it's not easy to figure it out. What he told me makes it incredibly transparently easy to figure out.
Acha.
I'm not making it up. He told me. The question is, why did he tell me and not write it in his books? That is a biggie, isn't it? A sort of a biggie. But all I can say is it was like a pirate burying treasure. He buried that knowledge in me decades ago. And I guess he knew that I would have the discretion not to say anything about it. And I didn't say anything about it. Let the whole guru thing go through its gruesome cycle. But now we've at a point where we can say it because now it makes sense and it doesn't contradict anything that Prabhupada wrote. What he told me just clarifies what he wrote. It doesn't change it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Otherwise, maybe I'm as a Sahaja making up some fake stuff. But
sounds
I'm not.
Good. Sounds good.
Sahaja making stuff up. That doesn't sound good.
But does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. So what was Bhanu's conclusion after your discussion with him?
He knew I was an insider, which means I'm an outsider. In ISKCON, I never saw myself as an insider or an outsider. I just had tasks to do, and I tried to do them well. Build the LA temple, built it. Carved Jagannathis, carved them. Built the Rath Yatra cars, built them. You see?
Hare Krishna.
Supervise the illustration of the Bhagavatam. Did it. In other words, I never did anything as a functionary to do things that needed to be done. Now it's different. The whole thing is collapsed. So now I'm free to speak. I'm able to speak the things that kept me from being an ISKCON party man.
Hare Krishna.
I was never a party man for Krishna, and I wasn't a party man for Prabhupada. I simply accepted that Prabhupada is an Uttama Adhikari, whose words are coming as we listen to them from Krishna Loka.
Hare Krishna.
When you say Prabhupada is an Uttamadakari, did you realize it in the beginning? Because there was no books in well, there were books, but 1968, I don't think the Nectar of Instruction was written. How did you come to the realization that he was an Uttamadakari or a bona fide?
Do you know how I came to that conclusion?
How? That's why I'm asking. I mean,
What else could he be?
People claim this guru, that guru is, Uttamadakari. What made you that understand that Prabhupada is an Uttamadakari?
Because I associated with Prabhupada. I have high functioning autism, which means borderline, or I'm diagnosed with borderline Asperger. In that state of mind, I can't understand so many basic things. But when it comes to something abstract, it's easy. When I saw Prabhupada, I immediately heard in my mind the sound of Narottam Das Thakur saying, Hare Krishna comes straight from Krishna Loka. But with chanting, I have no connection. Day and night, I'm burning in this dark world without working to make the correction. So if you look at Srila Prabhupada, hear what Prabhupada says, then hear what people say about what Prabhupada does or says, you can see that they don't understand. I mean, what's the big deal? I didn't need a PhD to do that. But when Prabhupada described everything, it was very easy to understand. Everything Prabhupada told me was easy to understand. Everything people said about Prabhupada was horrible to try to understand because it was so imperceptive and offensive. And these are the leaders of ISKCON talking. That's why I never became a leader of ISKCON. Didn't want to be.
Now, let's bring it back to Bhanuji. What was Bhanu's ultimate understanding? Did he accept what you had to say, or did he have more questions?
Well,
and what about the
more questions? He got sort of like stoked out because I explained things as I usually do in fairly complex detail. Bhanu, I was saying things. Bhanu was supporting me pretty much completely, and not Bhanu. Shravan was supporting me pretty much completely, and Bhanu was running all over the place.
Well, he's always all over the place anyway, so.
Yeah. So hopefully he's not on this call, huh?
He'll probably watch it and complain, but that's all right.
That's okay.
Well, no, but because Bhanu was making great advancement, I was very much encouraged by Bhanu. But I was just going to say that he took the page off because he didn't accept. Hey, Haribol. He didn't accept that. He couldn't accept that that ISKCON is Prabhupada's body.
Okay, now he couldn't accept that, but then he accepted it. But what about the website? Is he going to give the login information and password and all that stuff, or what? Is he going to hold on to it?
Hopefully to both. No, he says he's going to. Okay. But with the intervention of Shravan made it happen.
Okay, that's good. Shravan is doing something.
You know, what I was doing with Shravan was I was discussing with him how our Daivavan ashram is going to be centered with Jagannath. He wants to make a Jagannath temple. I say, yes, that's what we want to do also. We're into it.
Good.
Right. So he found it very encouraging, right? So, but I said, even if you build an urban Jagannath temple or one that is close to urban, try to get enough acres of land, maybe 10 acres of land or 5 acres or 3 acres. Keep a couple of cows, raise some vegetables so that you will have at least a token of the Varnashram concept that Lord Jagannath represented in Puri before 1800. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's way over my head. Way over my head.
Do you know why?
Why?
It's called humility. if you're bowed down to God, everything will be over your head.
Hare Krishna.
So you're a very sacred person now, if it's over your head.
Haribol.
Joy. So is this connection okay or not so okay?
You're sounding great.
Okay.
All right. It fixed itself.
And I have the great pleasure to be sitting next to Mahaprabhu. I'm sitting in a chair and Mahaprabhu is sitting next to me. It's pretty amazing.
Hare Krishna.
Great picture.
Always a pleasure to be in your presence, Narayan.
My presence doesn't even exist. I'm
Hare
the
Krishna.
soul.
And you taught me that I'm the
You
soul.
think I am? What do you think I look like?
Hello?
We're breaking up.
Breaking up. Let me turn on this video, by force.
Be patient. We'll come back. Modern technology.
That's the great knowledge to have.
Narayan, you're breaking up.
I don't have your email address. Okay. What's
Whose?
your email?
Whose?
Modern tech,
Whose?
modern technology. Modern technology. What's the next word?
Go for it.
Modern technology. Go for it.
Whatever you want to say.
No, I'm
He's
talking about
asking
your
you
Rupa,
wants
can
your
you
email
ask him
address.
what his email address is?
My
Shouldn't-
email, mine?